for the pre-call. All right, guys, welcome everybody. As we hop in, feel free to drop it in the chat because I love that we're all across the country. Where are you tuning in from? And we're talking a little bit about this today, but what was your greatest win this year in 1 or 2 words or less? Going to open it up for some wins actually to share right off the top of as we kind of reflect on 2019 and move into 2020. So if anyone has any wins that they want to share or just any gratitude, feel free to pop off and share. I have a few people that I'd love to hear from. Actually, I'd like to hear from a lot of people, but yeah, go ahead and unmute and share today.
Hey, Brad, I'd love to jump off.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm excited about this call today because it's like, because I've been coaching for 7 years now, and our business more than doubled this past year, you guys. So I'm encouraging you all, for people that are just starting, to just really open up your mind to really what's possible and listen to the leaders that are going to be teaching you. Because I never knew how to dream quite so big, and I always limited my dreams. I always kept them so low because I didn't think it was possible. And I just encourage you, as you're starting this year, to just really, as Brad's leading you today on this call, really don't stop yourself. Don't limit yourself. Because if it wasn't for Brad, leaning in and teaching me and showing me hip to hip for the past 7 years, I cannot even imagine. I could have never dreamt this life for us, and I could have never dreamt it for all the people that we're helping to lead. So I'm very excited for myself, but I'm really excited for each and every one of you guys today, and just literally unleash your dreams today. So I'm just super excited. Thanks for doing this, Brad.
Awesome. Yes, I'm excited. Thank you, Lori, for being a good example, a great example of that, of dreaming bigger. And that's what we're going to do today. Let's share one more win before we hop in. We just hit 7, and some people are shaking off the holidays. Maybe some in-laws still just
Hey, Brad, I'll share.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, so I made FIBC, and it was really awesome. And I really have to hats off to my mentorship. It was really all about them, honestly. I was, maybe I could do this. And then towards the end, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm going to make it. And then, April and I hooked up, and all of a sudden I saw it and it started to fall into place. And she had said something to me that, look, just start getting the pieces in place, and before you know it, everything else will start to fall in. And that's exactly what happened. And here we are. We're going to the Bahamas.
Awesome, man. Congratulations. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today, because there was the masterpiece of how you connected with your support team, what was possible. And you've accomplished a lot with your health this year and just showed that to so many people. That's like a perfect example as we hop in today. All right, guys, we're going to hop in. It's great to see you. I know a few people will be popping on, but grab some coffee. Hopefully you got the pieces to kind of get set up for today. I'll be going over that. But if you don't have everything prepared today, don't worry. The only thing you really need is yourself, an open mind, and a blank piece of paper, because this call is a little bit different than what we've done in the past. We're going to jump in here. And actually, let me share my screen. Feel free to send a text over to anyone that you want to be here, because accountability and support is probably one of the biggest things we got here. Man, I'm excited to be with you guys today as we start off a new year. And officially welcome you to the new year. I know we're a few days in, but this is officially the first, okay, we're ready. We're jumping into the new year. Hang tight. I got to mute a few people real quick. Actually, Dawn, I'm going to hand you co-host so you can help mute people. Can you help me out with that? All right,
Brad, I'm on it.
Perfect. All right, you guys. So if you haven't met me yet, my name is Brad Miller. My wife, Ashley, and I have been coaching for a little bit over 10 years, and this is our 10th new year, and we're really excited because each and every year we're excited because we generally get to set, well, not generally, we get to set a new intention and new vision for the new year, but every year people are blown away by what is possible, what they accomplish, and what is really possible as they stay consistent and pour into themselves. And I'm actually looking at a few of them just that happen to be on my screen. I'm looking at Lisa and Steve Nasco, who was on a call like this a year and a half ago, where they were brand new coaches, or John, where you're at right now, or Don, can you imagine all the things that we've done year by year? We're always blown away. Or Lori, you just shared. And if you're just tuning in the chat, please tune in or drop in the chat where you're tuning in from and what your biggest win of this year. I saw a lot of great wins in there. Health, confidence. I saw someone made ED for the first time last month, going to Bahamas, lots of great stuff. And that's just the beginning facet of what we're going to go over today. So I'm excited for this call because you guys have done the work. I'm going to come back to that real quick. And wherever you're at, there is the next level of possibility. Like I said, I'm always blown away by what can happen through consistency. I'm sure you guys can't even really envision what's next for you, but you're here right now, and this call is for people that want to grow or even have just an inkling that there is a next level of greatness inside of it. And I'm here to tell you that there is inside of you, and that's what we're doing here and unleashing that with other people. So before we hop in, because this is a call for everyone that wants to do great things in this year, I'd love to know where you guys are at in this business. So put a 1 in the chat if you are a newer coach within the last 6 months, or you are below executive director. Let's check that out real quick here. I'm loving all the wins from this year. A lot of wins. Confidence. I love that one, by the way. Tammy, 90 pounds. Congratulations. Okay, so we have a lot of new coaches here. This is awesome. And people below executive director. Okay, I'm very much excited for you today because what you can accomplish this year, you can't even imagine. I'm just thinking back to all the conversations I've had with people around this time of year where they're like, oh, I don't know what's possible. And then like 4 months down the line, they're like, oh my gosh, I did it and it's coming true. And it's more than anyone can comprehend. So, but I also love to know, like, for those that are executive director or higher, drop a 2 in the chat. I'd love to know where you guys are at today, like how many people are tuning in from there. Okay, this is really good. Don, anything you want to say real quick here since you're my updated co-host?
I just love it, Brad. Almost 290 people on, almost 300 people on a Saturday, kicking off 2020. And you know what? I just want you to know that if you're joining in for like maybe the first time, or if you're a newer coach and you're kind of like not sure what this year could bring, I just want you to sit tight with us, allow yourself to dream, and listen to everyone who's going to speak to you pour in today, because they're speaking from their own personal experience and they're pouring into you, and absolutely anything that you dream of, you can create. And we're going to walk through exactly what that looks like. So I'm just excited for today, Brad. Let's dive in.
Yeah, let's dive into it. So first I want to say here is like, we're going to create a vision today. So hopefully you got an open mind, some coffee with you. And we have some people and some examples that we're just going to share with you, like what's happened so you guys can start to dream. I think the ability to dream is something that's lost in today. And that's one of the gifts we get to give people as we start this year. So I want to first say it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're on fire, like John just shared there. Congratulations, John. Nice job. And just so many of you. Or if you're managing some disappointments, it's real. And we grow through disappointments. And that doesn't mean that you're not doing well. It just means that you had higher goals and you're not there yet. So wherever you're at, we had like 80 coaches teams make the ILAT trip. Congratulations. Let's give them all a round of applause. And we had some people that it just wasn't in their strategic plan to do that. And what I've learned over this time is that probably one of the biggest gifts I've gained is the ability to get out of my head and get on to focus on what truly matters most in my life, and get away the distractions and think at a higher level of what I ultimately want to create. Constantly changing my brain to what's possible versus what have I done before, and letting that be my future versus what I know can happen one step at a time. So, or if you're just anywhere in between, it doesn't matter where you are here today. And this call is for people that want to grow themselves, and see a higher vision this year. So today is a blank canvas. That's why we said bring a notepad, because today is for you, yourself, and pouring into yourself, and then ultimately filling your cup to pour out to other people. So here's what to bring today, because we're going to help you set up for the new year, is hopefully you have a notepad. If you were able to grab your income total from last year, and actually I'd love to know in the chat, who here was able to do that, grab their entire income total from the year last year? Drop a 3 in the chat. Awesome. I'm sure you guys were blown away. It was amazing. If you didn't grab it, don't worry. I'm going to have a screen in a second here that's going to show you how to do it later. But also grab that piece of paper. And if you didn't already do it, this is what we're going to be covering today, is where were you at in your business and your life and your health in January of 2019, a full year ago? And then we're going to start reflecting on what was your biggest win or wins this year in coaching. What was your greatest win in your health? Because we are really good at giving ourselves like telling ourselves what we didn't do good at. We want to start changing our mindset into what's possible and what we did improve upon. And then, because once you look at what you're improving upon, anything is possible from there. And then we're going to talk about what was your greatest wins in your overall life. Because what I love about changing our health and getting all in on coaching is things in our life start to come together as well. And if we don't reflect on that, we're not going to get it. But Danae and DJ are going to cover that in a second, so I'm going to not spend too much time on that. Hopefully you printed off a map and maybe multiple maps. I've actually got all my pieces here. So hopefully you've got maps so you can map out your month, or it's already done. 10 health assessments, because we're going to use them this month, and Coach Explorers, because we are going to bring some people into our community and have our coaching goggles on. And then a printed out list of all of your past clients, because you get a full refresh. You get to create whatever you want this year. Kelly and Danae and DJ are going to talk about that today. Take a quick screenshot of this. If you weren't able to grab your income or you weren't able to grab your client list, just take a quick screenshot of this so you know where to go after this call. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it, but that way you have it, because we're going to go over some steps on how to use that today. With that being said, though, actually, I'm going to unshare my screen and make sure you're on speaker view, because some of the speakers today are going to not be on speaker view so they can speak right to you. Let me make sure I'm on speaker view myself, actually. So hopefully you got those pieces, and I'm going to turn it over to Danae and DJ. And they're not only going to have, they're going to have a couple people share some testimonies, and we just chose 2 because we want to keep this call on time. I could have asked a million people, and I wish we could. We could literally just have a call of all the breakthrough. Like I'm looking at Jen on the line here, or April, and I'm just like getting my heart starting to well up of all the breakthrough that has happened one step at a time through your guys' consistency. We'll have a few stories of that, but we did a call like this last year, and Danae and DJ, it really spoke to them. Plus, this is kind of their mission in life, is helping people dream, cast visions, and have intentions for their life. So I actually am going to pass it forward to them, because this is what we do. We get healthy and we change our lives and we pass it to other people. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys to guide us through the exercise today so we can start off 2019 grateful, focused, clarity, and focusing on what we want to create.
Nice. Hey, everyone. Welcome. I'm DJ. This is Danae. She's beautiful. Awesome. Just kidding. Of course, right when we're about to start, our 4-year-old runs into the room and needs to do his thing. And so she'll be right back in just a second. I promise it'll be her and I, which is awesome. Yeah, drop a 4 if life happens to you guys also, which I think is one of my favorite things about this. Like, we get to do like what we're passionate about and what we love to do while life happens right alongside us. And so it's actually one of our favorite things is our kids get to come up into our office and say hi to us, and then we get to go play with them. Then we get to come back up and change lives. And it's one of those things that if you have kids or if you have life, it's one of those, it's just great. It's really cool that we get to do that together. And look, there she is. I promised she'd be here. So it's awesome. But one of the things that we thought would be great, and really the theme of this year and for sure this call, is that we need to take time to just acknowledge that there are some big things happening.
Yes.
And we don't do that very well. So we're going to celebrate a lot today, because celebration is one of those things that we need to do. But what's possible has been something that Brad already talked about. He said, hey, that's a focus that we need to really engage in a little bit more, is like, what's actually possible. And so before we get into the nitty gritty of like questions about vision and what, God has in store for this next year, we wanted to hear some stories of people that didn't think there were some things that were possible last year, but they began to believe and then believed a little bit more. And then throughout their journey, they were actually able to accomplish what they weren't sure was possible, and now is possible, actually is possible.
Yeah, and 2019 was a huge, huge year for these 2 stories that we're going to share with you next, or actually they're going to get to share with you next. First person we would love to have come off mute and share is Miss Christy Johnson. Christy is a sweet, amazing health coach, and it has been such an honor to hear her story. And so I cannot wait for you to hear what she's been able to journey through in 2019 and what an epic few months she's had.
Thanks so much, DJ and Danae. I'm so excited to get to share, because this time last year, actually this weekend exactly, my husband and I had decided that we were going to separate. And we were talking about divorce. And so we're at the complete opposite end of where we are now. And Danae and I connected to start my health journey. And Danae, she's so sweet. And she just spoke straight into my heart that I am enough. And that was exactly what I needed to hear to say yes. And then about a month into that, I started coaching. And
Oh, little
We're
there we
having
go.
technical difficulties this morning. No worries, Christy, you're back.
Okay, what we heard last is about a month in, so go from there.
Okay, so about a month in, I started coaching. My husband and I weren't living together. He works full-time as a canine officer. I was working full-time in retail at Benefit, managing the Brow Bar, and our kids were in full-time daycare. And so we were just in this season of disappointment in our life and where we were at. However, I was having some success in my health. I was starting to feel great, kind of gain some confidence back. And then in March, my husband accepted Christ, and we were able to reconcile and have a lot of healing in our marriage, and we came back together. So that was our first win. He was able to see that in taking time for ourselves and investing in self-care, that we were able to better take care of each other. And so then in April, our fridge died, and we were like, oh my gosh, what do? We don't have the money to replace this fridge. And Denise and Danae challenged me. They said, what would it look like for you if we helped you pay for this fridge this month? And, you know, I was like, what? Is that actually possible? And so I was like, okay, yes, like I'll lean in. And so I made the decision that even though I was working full time, Jason was still working full time, the kids were still in daycare, and life was just still kind of crazy, that I was going to press in and share my story with as many people as possible. And I had the benefit of all of my clients would come in once a month to see me. So like as they come in, I'm like slowly getting smaller and my energy is coming up. And so I had a lot of people asking in person. And so Danae and I are scheduling health assessments on my 45-minute commute to and from work and on my lunch break. And I was able to partner with 14 people in the last 2 weeks of April and make ED and start that bonus to pay for my fridge. And so that was our first really big win. And my husband and I were like, oh my gosh, like this is something that we can do. And so from there, we just kept running. Jason attended convention with me in July, and he had that aha moment of what other business can you invest $199 in and change people's lives and financially start to change your own life. So we had started to dream, which Jason hasn't really been able to dream for the last 8 years. He works in a prison, and just the stress that comes with that had kind of depleted his spirit. And so we had another win in that. And then Terry and David Miller offered the Portland trip. And my husband, who had kind of been sitting on the sidelines, did his own health journey, started in May, was like, well, do you want to do that? Should we run for that? And he partnered for me for the first time in July, and running towards partnering with clients and partnering with coaches so we can make Portland. And so we have these wins, and we're running and we're running and we're running, and we're like, oh my gosh, Isla, we're going to make that. And, you know, the last 3 months of the year were not what we expected, because we had all this breakthrough and all this growth in our first 5 months. And so the disappointment started to come, but with that, DJ and Danae really challenged us, like, oh my gosh, Christy, like, what are your wins? And the fact that, I'm going to get a little emotional, but Jason and I did our first live together last night. And the fact that he could look at me and say, I just want to say how proud I am of you, and that I love you, and that it was amazing to watch you go from feeling down and being depleted and being broken and come back and be this powerhouse and be able to share what we have with other people. And my husband has been pretty quiet, like through most of our marriage, and to see him transform into the man that we all know he could be. Even his family is like, oh my gosh, that's Jason. Like, it's so crazy. He's sharing on Facebook about like what you guys have experienced. And so just know that there is so much more. Like, the financial aspect is amazing. The breakthroughs that we had in helping other people's lives is amazing. But like, our biggest win is that we get to wake up in the same house together with our kids and have this restoration. And so I just want to share that with you, and that he's resetting in his health journey so he can go through all 4 components with me over the next month or so that he can coach with me, so that in the long run, in our big vision goal, that he'll be able to come home, so that he's not spending every day in a prison surrounded by negativity, that he's home with his kids and able to speak hope into other people. And so that's a little bit of our story. And just know that even if you're not making a trip, or like we didn't make the trip, that it helped us reset and say the bigger win and the bigger thing is that we're sitting here together and we have this together and we can move forward. So,
Wow.
Thank you.
Holy cow.
I love that in the chat, everyone's like, I'm not crying, you're crying.
Oh man. if that doesn't like show that what we do is so much more than a diet, I don't know what else is. It's one of our most favorite stories that we get to be a part of because it's the holistic story of what health means when we get emotionally healthy and mentally healthy. And those of you that put a 1 in the chat earlier on that are new to this journey, that shows you what we mean when we say that this is holistic, that it affects health on every level of a person. And so this is what we get to do, which is really, really cool. But we have another story we want to share with you guys from Tracy and Brian. And so if you guys come off mute and share a little bit of your story.
Where you guys at?
Oh my gosh. Are you there? Can we see?
There we go.
Hello. Oh, you muted yourself again, Miss Tracy. You guys are so cute. Look at them snuggled up in the car together.
You're still on mute.
You're still muted.
Okay, better?
Yep.
Okay.
I have to just say, I'm crying. What a beautiful, beautiful story of redemption and hope. And, thanks for sharing. But ours, I've always believed, ever since I heard Dr. A convention, that he said it's not a matter of if, but when. But I have to tell you, the dreaming part has come in little increments that I'm watching unfold. My first big win, well, not first, but one of the wins this year was actually selling the business that I ran and owned and ran for 12 years. And I knew that I had to do that and wanted to do it, but it was scary. It was really scary. I was used to it. I had the income. It was a great business and I had people that worked for me, and yet I knew what I wanted was on the other side was bigger. So that was scary, and it took me 3 or 4 months longer. So, and I say that to say that some things don't happen exactly like when we want them, but if you believe and keep pursuing, it will happen. And then once I sold the business and dove in, it was just exponential blessing. But I want to share a win that I'm having right now and experiencing and living right now is that my husband, who's going to share in a second, has done a ton of marathons, 2 Ironman, and then he took a hiatus for 28 years. And then as a result of me getting healthy and him getting healthy, he did another Ironman, half Ironman recently, and he's been pushing me to do something like that. And I really realized that I had to get out of my comfort box with exercise. I love to exercise, but I just signed up to do a sprint, which is how do you even define it? It's just it's a very short one. It's a mini triathlon, but for me, who's 57, never been on a team, never been in organized exercise kind of team or anything, this is a huge dream and breakthrough for me. So I just want to say that as I'm moving forward in Optavia, the dreams are happening bigger and becoming more clear. And it's very apparent that you can, if you believe and move forward, dream big enough, you'll get there in time. So do you want to share real quick?
Yeah, I just want to say, for my own personal health journey, it's when I had lost 30 pounds and there was a period of time I was very active, and that 28 years of just doing nothing. And ever since I've been on program and it's just literally just changed my life. I mean, just recently, last 2 years, did 2 half Ironmans, and then just this last month, signed up to do the full Ironman again, 140.6, and it's like I did 2 of those back in my 20s, and I thought, will I ever? That was maybe just a memory, Now it's like just the fact that I get to do this again. Being at 50, I'd be 57 years old. I look at some of my high school alumni, some people are dying, and the health and the issues, and just the ability to just dream again. And that it's not a pastime, that today we can still, that nothing is impossible. And the fact of the whole mindset, it was like that switch was like, oh my gosh, I'm back to, I feel just like I was when I was in my 20s. You're older, but in terms of bouncing back, it's not as quick as possible. But in terms of the mindset and the ability the possibility, and then seeing our children, they're going college bound, and we're at this empty nest stage, and it's just so awesome to be able to dream again. So we're just so thankful for Optavia and what's been happening in our lives. I just want to encourage you, just keep on keeping on.
Amen.
That's awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing that.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
I love the different dynamics that people and just in life and all the things that kind of in store depending on where you're at. And that's what's cool about this again is it's at all different levels for anyone wanting more. And I think again, that's the whole purpose of today and the whole call and having a vision for 2020. And so we're going to dive into some really kind of practical things, which how many of you guys put like a 4 in the chat if you love just practical steps and practical things, something tangible you could chew on and actually like apply to your life. If you like that kind of stuff, then you're going to love today. Okay, good.
But you are going to need a notepad. So we want to see them. Hold them up in front of you. There we go. See? And here's my tip. I think I've shared this before, but I have a notepad that I start at the beginning of every year for coffees and consistencies, for any sort of coaching calls on Monday nights, trainings, all those golden nuggets go in the same notebook for 1 year. So you can staple that paper that you've got in the front of a new one for you.
Awesome. Love it. Well, I'm going to share this with you guys. I'm a visual learner. And so a couple things, again, that's why we have the notepad. That's why we have slides up here, is because visually, I think there's something that happens when we see it and when we write it and apply it. So please take notes, even if you're not a note taker. I want you doing that. One of my favorite quotes is that without vision, the people will perish. And so if we don't have vision for our next year, if we don't know where we're going, how do we know how the heck to get there? And so I told you before we get even into the vision aspects of what we'll talk about today, we need to celebrate just a little bit, all right? And so if we could celebrate, that would be awesome. There's a lot of things that we can celebrate. And even if you're one of those personalities that tends to look at the glass half empty, I need you to kind of do like a heart check and a reset right now of it's not how the month or the year ended. It's not how, you know, that one event overshadowed everything else that was going on in your life. I need you to like elevate yourself up to like the 10,000 foot view as if you're looking down at your life right now. And let's celebrate some stuff. And so here's what I want to celebrate specifically. What is your biggest win? Your absolute biggest win. And this verbiage is my favorite verbiage. Like, you're winning. You are winning in life. The problem is perhaps you're not recognizing the areas that you're winning in life because you're focused on the areas that you're losing in life. All right. And that's honestly the biggest part of when we say we've forgotten how to dream. You've heard that from Brad, you heard that from Christy. Like, some of us, we've forgotten how to dream. I watch my kids play and they have this incredible imagination of serving each other in like dining area, and they dream, and then they have dreams. They'll tell us what they want to become, a veterinarian when they're older, or a doctor when they're older, these things that happen when they're 4, 5, 6, 10, whatever. And all of a sudden life happens and we forget to dream. So with that, here are some of our biggest wins.
All right. So for us, it has been such an incredible thing. And as Brad shared, this call has impacted me personally. I began health coaching in December of 3 years ago, which is so fun. We just had our 3-year anniversary. When I started, I had no idea what I was stepping into. And Brad led one of these calls the first year. I had been a health coach for a little less than 3 weeks at that point, and he asked us a group of questions. And so I thought, well, why not? I decided I'm gonna try. I'll be all in. I'll do all the things that they ask. So I wrote down the questions, and I had no idea how to dream. I just needed to make $500 to make our bills like meet, right? Just so that we could like scrape by, and there'd probably still be some arguments in this conversation. It was incredible to see when I sat down and I wrote down those questions. And then each year when we came back in January and we went through these, I had no idea the possibility of what could happen. But when I put my why behind it too, and thought about why the number that I said needed to happen, what that life would look like, and walked through this exercise that we're about to walk you through, I had no idea that this moment of us sitting here together would be that. So in your life, why do these dreams matter? What is going to be your celebration from this last year? In your story, what are you going to celebrate? Do you have a great relationship with your kid that you really fought for this year? Do you have something personally? Like I saw someone put that they left their terrible toxic desk job. That's an amazing thing to have surroundings and good healthy relationships and good healthy people pouring into your life. So in your life, what's that win for this year?
Awesome. Yeah. And please don't forget, again, that 10,000 foot view. Don't forget to look at that and really see. The other part too is like in my personal health. This is such a big component. Another favorite saying for me is you cannot give away what you do not have. You can't. So if what we do is health, and I'm talking about holistic health. I'm not just talking about our nutrition, even though that is a component of it. I'm talking about our emotional health, our mental health. How are we doing on our sleep? How are we doing on energy? How are we doing giving away what it is that we actually have? We should have a 2020 health goal. We really, really should. And how can I say this without being like mean or rude? I don't like when people write, well, I don't do resolutions anymore. What that basically means is you don't like setting goals that you think you're going to fail in anyways.
That's failure.
I'm like, whenever I hear that, I'm like, I get what you're saying. I do. I really do get what you're saying, except for you could call it whatever you want to call it. Basically what you're doing is you don't want to set projections. You don't want to set goals. You don't want to look ahead and go, all right, this is where I want to be, because you're worried about failing. And I'm hoping that for us, having that kind of vision is something that when we look ahead and when we have goals and resolutions or whatever you want to call them, it's because we want to hit them. And that's what we're striving for. So in our personal health, celebrating is really, really big. Okay. I remember sitting down with Brad feeling really not confident. This is early on in our journey, like a year into health coaching. And I was not at, and again, it's more than just a diet, but for me at that point, it was about nutrition. That was the only thing it was about. And I remember going to him and saying, no, I don't feel really confident in who I am right now because I'm not in my goal weight. And he goes, well, are you making better choices than you made before? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, then you're winning. And it changed my world. It changed my world. I'm like, oh, you're right. I am winning. That's cool. Like, oh man, that's awesome. Totally. And it's something as simple as that changed my perspective. Another Brad moment that we all probably have at some point or another. And so we need to have a focus and celebrate our personal health is really a big deal. And then celebrate what happened in business. Like all of us are in the business of life change. Hopefully you know that by now. We're not in the business of making money. How many of you put it like a 5 in the chat if you know that making money does not make you happy? Okay, so put a 5 in the chat if you've learned this yet, that money does not make you happy. And so
look at all of those.
It doesn't make us happy. What makes us happy is pursuing our dreams. And I think in this point of my life, I've learned what makes us happy is when we get to help make other people happy. Actually, that's kind of the definition of leadership. Yeah. Which is really, again, cool. So what do you want to celebrate in your business?
And that was where that question, where Brad had you go back and look at your income over the last 12 months. That's a huge celebration. I think sometimes we get so focused in the way that it's broken down. Maybe that's something to make a goal this year, is that each month you get to create a culture of celebration every month when we all get that alert that, oh my gosh, guess what? Bonuses are posted. Are you going to commit to looking and celebrating that moment? Because that's an incredible gift. Those are lives changed. That's helping somebody else reap incredible benefits of health and restoration and financial freedom in their own personal life. And so celebrating those things, I got to go back into our mentorship coaching thread, and that's where I found our income, was that I tallied it up. I sent screenshots of my calculator and celebrated that with my mentorship team or our mentorship team. So that's a huge thing. Break that down and celebrate it, because like Christy said, what other business do you get to start for $199 and then have amazing financial breakthrough that is an incredible gift, no matter the amount, because of the learning component that comes along with that.
Yeah, and hopefully you see the value in that, of looking back at numbers, because numbers tell us something. So remember, when we celebrate numbers, it's because numbers tell us something. They're telling us our success. They're telling us what we've accomplished. but the numbers themselves are not what is the most celebratory thing. The most celebratory thing is the lives changed. And as soon as we lose sight of that, we're starting to miss out. So if your motivation and your aim is to change lives, you're going to be successful on the flip side of that. You're just going to be. And so make your focus the desire to change lives, and everything else will kind of fall into place after that. And so with that, like another component we want to talk about here is like, what did I accomplish in 2019? Like, what do we want to celebrate there? Like, what did I actually accomplish? Did you set goals and did you achieve them? That's another part of celebrating and looking back and going, okay, so before you could set 2020 goals, you need to look back at 2019 and say, okay, did I accomplish what I wanted to accomplish? And if I did, celebrate it. If not, then let's take aim. All right. And so now we're going to get a little bit more practical in that sense of we did some celebration. Hopefully you took some time looking back. It's why we wanted you to look at your income over 2019, is because some of us maybe got a little discouraged at the end of 2019. Maybe not. Maybe some of us were super encouraged. Like, this is amazing. It's awesome. Wherever you're at, celebrating again is big. But let's take aim. And I just, because I'm still learning a lot of verbiage, which is really, really cool. But I love this acronym of AIM. It means awaken intrinsic motivation. All right. So what are we doing to awaken our internal motivation, our intrinsic engagement? All right. And so these questions that we're going to ask right now are to help awaken that for you guys. And we're going to pump through these pretty quick because we're running out of time a little bit. But where was I at in coaching last year? These questions are set up to really help you guys engage in where you were and where you want to go. And if you blow through this in a 3-second, one-word answer, you're not going to get out of this what the purpose is and the point is. For some of us, here's the reality. This is going to be a little bit of homework. You're going to have to go back to these questions and go, all right, let me really digest this. Let me really figure out what's going on in my life and where I was at. And so,
and even like I love how the way Christy shared her story. She shared about where she was relationally and physically and emotionally, financially, all of those arenas. Where are you at? And I love that, Team Power. You're an absolute rookie. Guess what? We all are in so many areas. And so you're not alone. We all answer these questions, and I save them. We have a binder where our past goals are, where we've answered all of these questions. And it is so exciting to pull them back out and to share them again with the mentorship team as we celebrate in December of, oh my gosh, look at what we achieved. Look at all of these great things. So where were you at in coaching this last year? And next, what's improved? What is it that you are ready to kind of move, that you moved forward in, but maybe you're ready to take even forward to the next level? So what has improved in your life over, this last year of coaching? And as you're moving forward, then that'll flow into these next questions.
Yeah. And what do I want to create this year? Now, this is it. This is kind of like the kicker question is what do I actually want to create? And this is where some of us, we want to play it safe. We really want to be like, well, I don't know, like I would like to do, and then we get to like the next rung and it's like, okay, that's cool. Like, good job. But don't you know that you're just reaching like this then, and instead of reaching like all the way up to like 3 rungs above what you're actually capable of reaching up to? What do you want to create this year? What do you want to create? Like, this is huge. So that's why I'm not moving on yet, because some of us, we don't even know. Again, without vision, people perish. Without knowing where we're going to go, we don't know how to get there. And here's the bigger thing, all right? If we don't know where we're going or how to get there, then when do you know when to celebrate? This is the biggest thing. When I would coach individuals, when I would sit down with people, the reason they didn't have celebrations that they would actually take time to celebrate is because they didn't know when they were winning. They didn't know when they were successful. Isn't that really difficult? And some of you are like, that like blew your mind right there, because you're like, oh my gosh, you're right. I don't know. I don't even know when I'm winning. I don't know when I want to celebrate, because I don't know what to celebrate. So what do you want to create this year? And I would even sit down and do it like, what do you want to create each quarter? Like, that's something for me. I think that's really powerful too. So that way you're not waiting for the entire year to celebrate. So maybe it's like creating that vision for the year out here, but you're going to put markers in, and I'm going to show you here in a second of what that means and what that looks like. So what do you want to create? And here are some really practical questions to help you out even more. Like, what do I need to start doing to create these things? Like, what do I have to actually start doing?
Yep. And I think that's one of my favorite questions, is taking an honest reflection of maybe time management is something that if you're going to reach this goal, and I think that's a place a lot of us, we get scared of the time it's going to take to actually do the work to see the goal come to fruition. And we get in our own mind and give ourselves plenty of excuses of why we can't do something.
Yep.
And if it's that whole analogy of, if we say, okay, everybody hold up your hand. Okay, everybody hold up your hand. We're going to do this. April, your hand's not up.
Called out.
Okay, now reach up. Reach up as high as you can. Okay, now reach up just a little bit higher. Okay, why didn't you do that first when I said reach up? And so if you, April got it. So if you really press yourself into, it may take a little bit of stretching. It may take a little bit of pushing. You may have to reposition your body. It is worth it to get everything possible for you and for others, to really stretch yourself and to grow. And you're surrounded by incredible mentors that know how to tell you, hey, if you want that, awesome. Guess what you do? You put your 5 fingers up in the air and you just reach up a little bit higher. You just need to start kind of turning your body sideways, and it'll give your arm a little bit more leverage. You have people in your corner every day that will give you those tools of how to do the work, but to do it efficiently and smarter. You've got a system. You have everything you need when you're ready to reach out your hand and say, okay, what do I need to start doing?
Yeah. Awesome. That's why we had you guys print out like your health assessments. Okay. Here's a practical thing. Ready? Print them out and like tape them to your wall. Tape them somewhere where you're going to see them every day, and lay them out 10 in a row. All right. The reason I have this over here is because I have a whiteboard right here that I get to look at and be a part of. So I would put these things in just all where I can see them. And that's what I'm going to start doing, is when I look at those, I'm going to begin thinking about people that need this. Okay. That need health and the holistic standpoint of who they are. Okay. So the reason we printed out 10 is because that's an aim. That's a really good goal, that you would have 5 to 10 in any given month. That means you're chugging along. You've got great momentum. That means that you're setting yourself up for success. You're filling that first bucket to like prime time. That's really good. Okay. So
and
5 to 10.
Here's the other piece, something to start doing, which I'm sure Brad and everyone's going to share about. Start looking for people that are looking for a solution. How is coaching a match for others? Pause for a second. You've just celebrated all these incredible ways that coaching has been an incredible gift to you, whether that's personal development, you've learned so much about yourself, you've become a better parent or a better leader in your community, you're more engaged in society, you're more purposeful in life. Imagine what that gift will be like for that next person, those next few people that you get to share that with. Maybe you need to start looking for coaches.
Awesome. Yep. We're going to chug along here too. Sorry, we keep taking time on all these things because they're so good. I could probably spend like an hour on each of these questions because they're just great questions. What do I need to stop doing? All right. If you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And so if you got to figure out what's your best yes. And many of us, we've heard of that before. We've tried to apply it in our lives before, and we've even thought about it before, but we actually have never executed that before. So like, this is not just a cute question. This is actually something that you might need to apply and push play on in your life, because there's some things you need to stop doing that are not your best yes. Straight up.
Yep.
All right. Put a 6 in the chat right now if you know that there's something in your life that is not your best yes. Like,
and it can be
everyone
something
can do
that is good, but good is the enemy of great. That have been words within our walls for the last few months of, what are we settling for in life? Where am I finding my value? Ultimately, like, we love the Enneagram, and it talks about your internal motivating factors. And so when you pause and you reflect, what's my motivating factor for being the one that needs to volunteer at every party? What's my motivating factor for being the one that always hosts something? What's my motivating factor for, and fill in the blank, and decide if that's something that's great or something that's good. And just because you need to maybe put it down for a moment doesn't mean that you can't in the long term pick it back up. when we first stepped into coaching and I shared with Brad and Denise, my mentors, kind of my year-end goal, I set a really scary number for me. They looked right at me across Zoom and said, say it. And I said this number out loud of the income I wanted to make by the end of the year and why it mattered to me. And I had to say no to some things for a season. I had to put some things down, and I also had to stop caring what other people thought about who I was, because my value did not need to be found in anybody else. So I just want to challenge you. For those of you out there that maybe that's something you're wrestling with, you're scared about sharing on social media, you're worried about this family member says, or somebody else has said something to you, those words have no place in your life. And you have incredible things that you get to share unashamedly with other people for incredible breakthrough. And so maybe you need to stop caring about what somebody else thinks about who you are.
Yeah, great. Awesome. These last couple questions here, I'm just going to put the question out there. We won't talk too much about it just for time's sake, but what do I need to keep doing? Okay. What are the things that you're doing great that you need to actually keep doing? So don't lose sight of that. Sometimes what happens when we ask the questions, what do you want to start? What do you want to stop? We forget to keep doing what it is that's actually giving us the momentum in the first place. So these 3 questions, again, are very, very pointed. And this last one, I think probably is my favorite in the sense of where do I need to challenge myself? And here's the kicker. Ready? The way that everything is set up is through mentorship. Okay. I love mentorship. It's something I yearn for and I long for. We put as many people as possible that we look ahead at, that are ahead of us, right? Ahead, beside, behind, that are ahead of us in our thread for Danae and I coaching so that they could speak into us. When we sat at the beginning of the month with our coaches, we asked them, what do we need to do to improve? What can you show? What are we missing? Like, is there something that we're not getting? And that question is so golden. Like, not only do you speak great things when you ask that question to your coaches, you actually will begin to grow because you're asking yourself, where can I grow? Mm-hmm. And so those are some great questions that we need to be able to ask the people that are ahead of us, the people that we trust to give us some good feedback. Okay. And then, and this one, I said that was the last question, but this is actually the last one. If I knew I couldn't fail, what would I want to achieve this year? If I knew I couldn't fail, what would I actually want to achieve this year? I used to not love this question because I was like, well, that's a stupid question. That doesn't make any sense to me. Well, then I would want to be a billionaire. That's not the point of this question. The point of this question is being able to look, kind of what Danae said, as far as you can stretch your hand up as much as you can, and then that little bit more, that's this question. It's that little bit more question, a piece of this thing we're talking about. If you knew you couldn't fail, what is that little bit more? And so here's a really great tool I use called SMART tool. Some of us have used it before, some of us know it. It's creating SMART goals. And the acronym SMART is this. It's specific, measurable, attainable, it's relevant, and timely. So when I'm setting up goals, when I'm setting up things I want to see happen in my life, I always, now it's so much in me, I actually will run through this in split seconds in my mind because I want to be able to set myself up for success. Because there's nothing worse than setting goals that I constantly fail at. I think there's actually some power in setting goals that are just a little bit beyond our reach, and when we don't like actually see them happen, it doesn't demotivate it, but it kind of pushes us forward a little bit. Like Christy, like she could have given up if she didn't hit the ILAP, but she didn't give up. She went, I'll hit it next year. And it made her push forward a little bit more. But when I say goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely, specific meaning you could actually put a finger on when you've hit that. Like when it's not like I want to grow in my leadership. That's not a good specific. It's like, what does that mean? How do you know when you've grown in your leadership? So for me, I'm going to attend 2 Optavia conferences that are going to help me grow in my leadership. Okay, so now I know that 2 Optavia conferences are going to help me grow in my leadership. Does that see what I mean when I say specific and measurable, the same thing? I can actually measure when I've hit that. And so that in that instance there, the specific was also the measurable because I gave 2. All right, but it's also something attainable. So you wouldn't say I'm going to attend 20 Optavia conferences because they don't even offer 20 Optavia conferences in 1 year. So that's not even possible. So you wouldn't want to set yourself up for failure in that sense. You want to make it relevant, something that actually you care about. If you don't care about your goals, you're never going to hit them, period. All right. So you need to make them relevant, something that actually you care about, and then make them timely. And this is what I meant by, I never, ever, ever set goals longer than a year. It's always in the quarter. And so I know that's a lot. We did a lot here, but I'm out of time. We're out of time. And so we're going to pass it off. Thanks, Brad, for trusting us with this. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome, you guys. So incredible. I don't know if you guys had time to take a peek at the chat, but it was blowing up while you guys were talking. So guys, if that was incredible for you and that spoke to you at a level, please drop a 1 in the chat, because we're going to wrap up with some tangible things that you can start doing now that will create this. Because what the difference is action. I had a lot of great conversations with people at the end of the month where they were like, oh my gosh, guys, I got into action and I'm busting through. That's why action is my biggest love language, because if you just make a decision, if you can get that inkling of what's possible, if you can open up your mind and just start staying consistent, you have no idea what's possible this year. So as we wrap up, we're going to give you some tangible tips. I'm going to share my screen, but I first want to share with you guys for just, I'm a kind of person that do you like tangible steps? Yes, I do. I like to see real examples. My biggest question growing up was why? When I would hear something, I'd be like, why? Why? Not because I like to challenge things, but just I like to understand how things are possible. So first off, I can't edify enough that I would encourage you guys to nail down what Danae and DJ talked to you about. Really mark that down. Where were you at last year? What are your greatest wins? What do you really want to achieve this year if you couldn't fail? Open up your mind. Just that next, I love that, by the way, you guys. So good. Because it's possible. We just have to open up our minds to it. I always joke about, because it's not really a joke because it's true, is it doesn't take much more time to grow than it does to stay the same. And if we can grow, why not grow in all facets? So just to kind of show you guys the picture of what's possible, because I'm sure you guys are like, well, what does it really look like to have a growing business? What does it look like to have that exponential growth? What does it look like? Well, it's not incredible. So I want to break down a couple examples of where probably a lot of you guys are at on this call. So if you look at this really quickly, and who is this helpful for? Drop me a 3 in the chat if it's like, oh my gosh, it's so helpful to see what it really looks like behind a growing business. Because I can tell you, it's not that incredible what they do, but it's consistency over time. So what I'd like to share with you is here is a new health coach in December that would integrate a regional over the next 8 months. They were at less than senior coach. They made about 180 income at this time. This is great. They may have got their cab. It may have been more like 300. But look at this. Because of their consistency, they took time at this month. They went to director in January, bumped up to 5 points in February, and then look, nothing incredible over this time. They had their first coach, then they bumped up to 7,000. Started probably about 6 more clients, stayed consistent. Then their consistency really paid off in April. They got over the Big Thinkers Club and then built from there. And look at that. Over that time, and you can't really see it, let me switch this thing here, is at the end of the 9 months, they went from a $200-ish income to about $6,500 a month. So you guys can see how momentum builds. And this person actually now is global. And so that just shows you that you're building momentum towards something. You're building a ripple effect. Is it helpful for you guys to see this? There was not one magic thing this person did, except they stayed consistent over time. And I bet if you think back to your biggest wins over this year, you're probably thinking, wow, I didn't really actually do anything that amazing. So look at this. They bumped up to 6,000. They made the Big Thinkers Club, and they started paying it forward. They just stayed consistent. I want to wrap up here. We want to leave, Don and Kelly want to leave you with some tangible tips. Here's another example. Maybe you are at a 5-point ED right now, and you're one of those people that said, hey, yes, I am executive director. My biggest thing, and I always joke about this with leaders, is do not tell someone to hit executive director again, because there's no reason why we can't continue to grow 1 to 3 points a month and change life. More does not mean more. So check out this person that was senior coach. They went executive director in January, and then they shot up to over 10,000. They got into the Big Thinkers Club. They filled their funnel. They were changing a lot of lives. They brought in some of their first few coaches. And then by, what would that be, April or June, they got their volume really up there. You don't have to get your volume that high, but they filled their funnel and they really shared coaching with people. And that bled into Integrated National by the end of right after convention. So up to 7,500. You guys see how it builds? And there wasn't one thing this person did. They're not better than you. They were just more consistent, and they shared from their heart, and they stayed consistent day to day. So I love these examples because it really shows you that we are average people with above average desires that has a tool to change people's lives. So whether you think you can or you can't, just expand that next, where you're at right here, just each and every month. So as we wrap up here, what I want to share with you is the power of consistency. And I'm not going to go into the slide because most of you know it, but for you new coaches, it's just what happens over time as you build a wave over time. And that's what we're starting this time of year. So I want to leave you with some tangible tips this year, but I wanted Kelly Giardino to just speak some things into you because I'm always blown away by how her and Tim think at a bigger level. So I want to just speak in some bulletproof mindset to you all as you start there. So Kelly, could you drop us just 1 or 2 minutes of just mindset, like check as we go into this now that we're focusing on what we're winning at and we're dreaming at a higher level as we start this year and casting a vision?
I would love to. This is my jam, you know. We all have our areas, but I'll tell you what, mindset, my favorite places, and my goodness, DJ and Danae have set us up completely on how to dream, how to plan, and do it intentionally. So thank you guys so very much, and Brad setting this up and the stories, I mean, I'm re-inspired as always from being with all of you. But just a couple of things that, you know, we have been working on in our crew with our partners is really the mindset of the gift we have, and being intentional with leading your communication and where you want to go. Because if you don't know where you want to go, as you know, you're just going to wander there. But what I really wanted to just kind of hit on it for a couple of minutes, because there's been so much good stuff, is when you're working with your clients, you know, and your team, work on building that relationship, because when we believe in the people and we believe in what we have to give them in this gift, then the communication goes to a whole nother level. So when you know what you want to achieve and you know that you want to help people and your mindset is on how to serve better with the tools I have in the structure we have to plug people into, the sky's the limit. So just a couple of tidbits is when you're getting ready to communicate or you're communicating with people, pause and think. And guess what I'm going to say? Think where you were before Optavia. Wow, imagine that all came together, right? But where were you? Where were you in your health? Where were you in your life? Where were you in your dreams? I would say the house behind me, that was a dream last January. That came to be because we were set up by Brad and Terry and David on how to really dream and put the intention out there. And it came true. So I'm going to tell you, dream bigger. Whatever you're dreaming, dream bigger, because you can accomplish it by being good and leading with your heart in serving others. So pause and think, what's the gift that you have to offer? Who are you talking to? And what is the next layer of our gifts that they deserve or that you're hearing them say? Because that's one thing about hearing them say things when we're listening, we can actually know where next Optavia can serve them. And that takes me to the next part of my, you know, couple of tips here is get great at asking questions. We talk about this a lot, but when you're really good at asking questions, you're going to hear what your clients, your team, your potential coaches, what we have to give that is going to serve them next on their journey. And listen and ask back. Help me clarify, what would that mean to you? What does that do for your family? How is that making you feel? Get really good at asking questions and also going up. Get good at asking questions of your mentorship. You've heard this before tonight too. You know, get good at asking, what am I missing? What could I do better? What do you see around the corner? Because you've been there. So really get good at the art of asking questions. And I'm sure that any of my team that's on here, they'll be like, yeah, I asked a lot of questions. So that's one thing that we're seeing really help people. But grow past the skill that you're at. And that's a question. Where am I? What's important? What do I need? So that's a great question in your own mentorship. Ask the question of where I need to go next. And that brings so much more insight to your clients. You're going to help them open up what they're really wanting. So don't what questions can do for your clients and potential partners. And that's just, you know, I could go on and on and on for that. So, but it's really important as business mentors, as you're mentoring teams as well, don't forget to ask them. Ask them all these great questions that DJ and Danae just set us up. Ask them what their answers were so you can buy in with them, right? You want to know what their goals are. You want to know where they want to go because you're going to help them get there. And somebody's helped you get to that next level too. And honestly, if you haven't gotten to that next level, grow together. Go to the next layer of your support, right? We all get 2 layers of support. So go together if you're going there and you're at a place where you're not ready to help somebody else grow, that you're coming and bringing along with you. These things are game changers. Use your support thread for those questions. Bounce things back. I don't know how much you guys use your business support threads, but ours are hopping every day. And if yours isn't, make it hop every day. That's why your coaches are here. And those questions are great at you getting better and better at serving people who want more, who are looking for more, who need what we have. This gift is truly amazing. And if you let your heart lead those questions, you're going to really build relationships into people, and they're going to come along, because why wouldn't they, right? Check out what we get to do, right? Last of all, use your resources and be confident. I mean, it is amazing when you show up knowing what Optavia has done for your life, what you have to offer. Don't overlook any resource. The Habits of Health call, the YouTube channel of those, the life book, your coaching guide. Use all of it, and always know that you can retweak habits. You can help people go back. If it's not caught, go back and help them again, right? Inspect what you expect, because that's how this lifelong transformation happens for all of us. We're always looking for what we inspect, expecting what we're in. Okay, I said that backwards. So inspect what you expect. Kelly gets tongue-tied a lot. And just know that you're here to help people. We have so many resources, and help them be the dominant force in their lives. We have that gift to give people. So let's give it away from our heart, with our questions, to dive into relationship better. And those are the nuggets that we're finding really are helping people come out of the gate and wanting more for this year, after they've accomplished last year, but not because of last year, right? Because of what you did accomplish last year, you can dream bigger, you can help more people, and you can accomplish so much by using the tools, using your mentorship, and getting good at asking questions and being so confident. This is an amazing life we get, and there's no reason we aren't giving it away more and more and more. And that's my challenge to myself this year too. I want to give it away more. So that's what I got.
I love it, Kelly. All right, guys, stay with us for just a few more minutes. We're going to wrap up here and share with you how to launch into the new year and what you can be doing right now. If you're like, okay, I'm in, I'm dreaming bigger. We're going to share exactly what to do to create success. So awesome, Kelly. Thank you for filling up our cup on that. It's so key. So what I want to share with you guys is take a screenshot of this. This is your checklist for being like, okay, I want to grow this year. What does it look like? First and foremost, starts with us, your health, and where are you all in on your health today? I'm going to challenge you guys to also get into your life book or continue on in your life book. That is the goal today, because it starts with us. A vision of what you'd like to create this year. Have it in front of you everywhere. Danae and DJ, thank you for guiding through this. I actually identified some things that have fired me up at a new level. Make sure your map is laid out and what you're declaring this month, and make sure you're thinking bigger. Make sure you get guidance from your support team. We're going to show you real quick how to have endless reach outs over the next week right now, just really quickly, because it is that simple. So have your hundreds list and your hot list that you are reaching out to, and hopefully now you see a bigger vision of who you're looking for. And then lastly, just commit to be consistent from this day out, because the new year, 2020, starts today. I just want to show a picture of a map. This is a great example of someone who is a 5-point ED last month. They're shooting for 10,000 this month, and it's it's incredibly possible because of what we're about to show you. And that's your next step. It's not going to take more work for this person to reach 10,000 and fill their funnel like that example I was showing you. It's the intention and the clarity, because if you knew you could hold up your hand this high, if you knew you could hold it up this high from the very beginning, you know you would do it. So it doesn't take more time. So I just wanted to show you that this is one of the main pieces. So Don, real quick, as we wrap up here, we just hit 8 o'clock, but this is the last piece here. Will you show people that, I love doing this every year, because literally it's like open season. You get a blank canvas, you get to create what you want, you get to choose your clients, and you have an amazing reason to reach out to endless amounts of people. Would you show people what we're going through right now and what we're guiding people to, and what they can make a simple list of okay, I get to choose my clients and I get to start my open invite. So what does this hot list look like, and how should we set it up?
Yep, absolutely, Brad. And what I love is tangible action. So everybody, I want you to flip your notebooks over to a blank sheet of paper. I want you to draw 2 lines so that you have 4 quadrants, and I want you to write these things in the quadrants. And if you have a list, if you had a hot list that you were working the last few weeks of January, then it's okay. It's time to make another one. It's time to refresh. Do this at the beginning of every single month. And so what I want you to do is in the top left-hand corner, put the people that you've done health assessments with, but that you haven't started yet. Okay, those are the people that are on your list and they're ready. They just probably need a reach out from you. And then right next to that, put the people that you know are interested, but maybe you haven't been able to connect with them and actually take it to the phone and have that conversation. They are waiting for us to reach out to them. And like Brad said, we get to really, you are going to attract the people that are going to come into your business this year and into your lives and who you're going to speak into. And so this is something where you're going to just fill it with names. So then go down to that bottom left-hand corner these are going to be all of your past clients. And I encourage you to go into Connect and print a list of all your past clients, okay? And then go through that. Some of us, like Brad and I, have been around for 10, 11 years and we've got lots and lots of clients on there. But I really want you to print that list and look at who do you just want to refresh with? Who do you want to pop back in with? And who do you want to invite to partner again this year and really invite to walk alongside you? And then I want you to go right next to that, clients who are currently doing amazing. Write that down, and I want you to really think about celebrating them and pick 2 a week. Pick 3 a week, whatever it looks like for you. You get to choose your action, but who's doing amazing, and have you celebrated them? Are they celebrating? Are you creating that microenvironment around them? Are you doing integration calls? Are you asking them who in their world around them is noticing? And so really, Brad, that's it. That's the hot list. But you guys, I want you to set it up. I want you to write it down, and I want you to really dive in. Do that this week, do that next week, and then set it in your schedule so that you do this, you touch it for even a few minutes every single day, because it's consistency over time that's going to yield to huge fruit. So Brad, take it away. You want to talk about the schedule? It's so important.
I'm just going to basically keep it short and say that from today on, I know that we've had like a season of the holidays. A bunch of you guys have reached out like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get back into my routine. And let me just say, for those of you that don't naturally navigate towards this, everything you want, every breakthrough, every creation, every next level of win you talked about here is on the other side of structure for you. So put it into place so that you can be the life force and be the game-changing force in your business this year. I want you to make sure that you meet some people as I wrap up here. So that would be my last suggestion. But you guys, this is the last thing I want to share with you, because I'm going to share with you like the last list of just like, hey, here's your checkoff for today. Is that hot list is so key. You get open invites to everyone. And like what Dawn said is so key. You get to refresh with every one of your clients that you love. Well, can you guys hear me okay? It cut out for a second. Good. You get to refresh. So even if they're on plan, they're doing good, you get to, on your next check-in day, ask them what they want to create this year and refresh with them. And you get to choose the ones that like lighten up your heart. You get to cast a vision for what your client base and what your coaching team looks like. You get to envision that this year. All of your potential health assessments, choose your clients. If you got kind of in the rut of like some people that aren't really like helping you thrive, you get to choose. I want to have thriving clients that I love supporting. You don't have to reach out to that draining client. You can get there, but you get to choose the forefront of what moves forward in your business. Your potential clients, you get to envision them. You get to choose DJs and Danae's and Kelly's and Jen's and April's and Dawn's. You get to choose those people. You get to choose your tribe. It's a blank slate and it's open season. You get to reach out heartfelt to them, asking them about what they want and asking if you can partner with them. So that would be my encouragement this week, is make that hot list, have your map, and start reaching out, because you get to create that. And I'm going to encourage you to create that with your coach glasses on. Here's the last thing. We're going to have some upcoming things for you to take advantage with this. So you want to be prepared. We're going to have a real story call that you can invite to in the next week. We'll have a rewards of coaching call in the next 2 weeks, and a new coach training for those new coaches. So all these people you've been layering, we want to help them start the new year strong. There will be a Grow ED and Beyond group starting at the end of this month. So get your party started now. This is for people that want to grow. But we want to, like, over this next season, we're going to run and create a wave and momentum of health this year. We want to make sure we're set up for it. Also, we're going to be restarting Elements 1 in the Wednesday Habits of Health call. It's another great reason to get clients and coaches integrated into there so we can work on our health and pay it forward to others. Here's the action today, my friends, as we wrap up. Take a screenshot. All these will be posted in the Health Coach page. But what we hope you leave here with today is a clear vision at a higher level of what you can create this year, and put it everywhere. You should be able to look at it each and every day, because what you are obsessed with, I can tell you will eventually possess. Set up your action, your rocks, have your map, and all the things that we talked about today, so you are ready. You're not scrambling for it later. You are set up for life change. And then put that vision, that map, and your hot list. And I'm going to challenge you also to put your schedule in there, because you show me your schedule and I will show you your future, just like your friends and the people you surround yourself with. You show me your schedule and the rocks, I'll show you where you'll be at in a few months. Share that in your support thread and partner with them. Danae, DJ, like you guys talked about the partnership, and so did Tracy and Brian, and so did Christy. You're going to partner with your support. If you truly want to grow, it's going to look like linking arms over this next little bit. Nobody goes far alone. So raise your hand, let them know what you want. And then basically, Number 4 is be all in with your health, and then start being consistent today. The bonus one today is if you feel like you need a refresh on your binder, Lindsay did an incredible binder workshop class. I'm going to encourage you to watch it. Her and Kelly go over some examples of what to do in setting up your business and setting up your binder for clarity and refreshing all this stuff. That's what to do today. So the last thing is here, guys, we're going to change a lot of lives together. We have an amazing year ahead of us. Drop us a 1 in the chat if you're part of this community ready to create a wave of health this year, because we're going to do great things this year. All right, I think that's the answer, my friends. All right, Danae, DJ, Kelly, Don, Tracy, Brian, Christy, everyone that shared in the chat and so much wisdom. Hopefully you guys are leaving with a renewed sense of just where you're going next. Not the same old, just like, oh my gosh, just that next little further is what changes the trajectory. I hope you guys believe in yourself, as I believe in you, and we're gonna do great things this year. So share that in your support team, reach out today, and let's start January 2020 on fire. Hope you guys feel renewed, focused, happy, and excited about the gift we're sharing with others. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Brad. That was awesome. Thanks to everyone who shared and trained.
All right. Bye, guys.